if you're watching this video, Viltrox has put out the 35 1.2 lab lens, 35mm 1.2, and I just wanted to share my thoughts on using this lens because I've been using this lens for the past 3 weeks and have shot a couple projects on it. I think 2 projects, and also just played around with the lens, and I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on this and also show you guys, a few images that I shot with this lens, portrait images, because I'm a portrait photographer, right? So you guys can, see what this lens is like, and I can tell you guys what this lens performs like. But at the end of the day, when it comes to lenses and camera and gear, you just don't know exactly how you personally would like it until you get hands on it. But I own a YouTube channel. I'm going to share my thoughts with you guys. So here we go. If you're looking for a more comprehensive video on this lens, something that goes in depth and shows you everything that this lens has and this lens can offer you, then check out Kofi Yeboah's video. I'll put a link in the description below. I and Kofi did a shoot where he shot video and I shot photos, and we really tested out this lens. He shot on the A7C II and I shot on my A7R5, and we put this lens through spaces in a portrait scenario, just like something I'll do for a client. So check out his video. Links will be in the description below. So let's get straight into this. First thing I noticed when I got this lens was, just like every other lens that Viltrox makes in the lab series, the packaging of this lens is really good. It comes in a really nice solid box, and it makes you feel like you've spent money on something that is really premium. Even though the price range of this lens, I would say it's somewhat mid-range at $999 US. A 35 1.2 is pretty, I would say, budget friendly at that price, because if you look at like the Nikon variant and then Sony one, they are a lot more expensive than that. So I think they kind of like got like a decent price range for this lens. Now, one of my favorite lenses over the past few years has been 35 1.4 Sigma. I've owned that lens for about 7 years now, and that's the oldest lens in my bag. So this lens is going to be sort of like a direct replacement for that lens. The build quality of this lens is really good. The 135 1.8 that I got from Viltrox a while ago and I've been using, which is now one of my favorite portrait lenses whenever I do have the space to shoot with that lens, is similar to this. I feel like their lab lenses are really solid when it comes to build quality. I do have a few complaints and a few things that I think they can fix when it comes to build quality. I mean, I would love for it to be completely weather sealed. I think it's not. And also, I wish that the aperture ring would stop, but you can just keep rolling it, and then it gets to a point where you roll it enough and it turns to auto and all that. So I just feel like those things are things that I would like in a lens, but they're not deal breakers at all. Like I said, the build quality of this lens is exceptional. When it comes to autofocus performance, this lens performs just like any other good high-end lens out there. It is good, it is snappy, it sticks with your subject. It will focus on eyes throughout, when you use the eye detect autofocus. So I think the autofocus of this lens is really good. It literally tracks your subject. The lens is pretty quiet compared to my Sigma 1.4, and that's what you want from an autofocus system, something that is just going to be out of your way and you don't notice it being there. And that's the experience that I got from using this lens on the last few photo shoots that I've done. What about image quality? Because image quality is really important when it comes to lenses. Obviously, that's the reason why people spend a lot of money on lenses. So if you're spending $999 US on a lens, then the image quality has to be solid. And I'm going to show you guys a few images. So what we're going to do right now is dive into Capture One, and I'll show you a few images that I shot, and we'll be back to give you my final verdict. Okay, so now we are in Capture One, and these are a few images that I did select from the 200 or 300 images that I shot. So what I'm going to do right now is just jump through any image that I can see. So we're going to start with this one because I am not selecting any specific image. I'm just going to jump through. First thing that you can see is that the autofocus areas are actually really nice and clean. I love how they look, and your image is nice and sharp. I'm showing that f1.2. Obviously, this is the 35mm Viltrox and 1/88 of a second. You can see how crisp the image looks. One thing that I would like to bring to your attention is, because this is a 35 at 1.2, the slightest movement from either you or your subject is probably going to shift the focus plane. So you're not going to get all your images stark sharp, but this looks pretty good for a lens that's 1.2. and the 35mm. If you look up here, you can see this has like an onion ring right here. I really do not mind that. Like, it's totally fine, you know, but I think generally the bokeh itself looks pretty good, right? We're just going to jump to another image. You guys can see nice and sharp. Let's move down right here. 35 1.2, nice and sharp. So you guys can see these images are not just usable, they actually look really good. I love how it renders colors. And by the way, I haven't done anything with these images, I just imported them into Capture One. I love how it renders colors. I love the contrast at 1.2. It is really good and absolutely gorgeous, right? There's another image right here. I'm going to zoom in. You guys can see it just retains the same type of sharpness, you know, all through with all the portrait images. So what we're going to do is just scroll down, and then what I'm going to do is dive into one of these images here. This one, you can see it's not as sharp, but obviously there's some movement in it, and I think that's the major reason why it's not that sharp, but still extremely usable because the model kept moving. This pretty sharp. This is pretty sharp, you know. And like I said, when you look at these images and you look at like the contrast ratios of these images and how it looks at f1.2, I think this is a pretty good lens image wise. And also, I don't know what Viltrox is doing with their colors and their vignetting, because with most of these images you rarely see any solid vignetting on these images. You know, it looks really nice and clean, and I'm somebody that I love adding vignettes to my image. I love how this looks. By the way, this is something I've edited, but look at the before, look at the after. It looks really good. The lens looks really good. I have absolutely no complaints about this lens when it comes to image quality. And like I said, I'm somebody that does not shoot a lot of portraits with a 35, but with this lens I feel like I am going to be shooting a lot of portraits with a 35. This one looks really nice and sharp, and you can see most of the detail in her, you know, on her face. You know, her eyes are in focus, you know, good autofocus, good image quality, great color rendering. And, you know, the lens just looks absolutely gorgeous. Let me scroll down to, I think, these images. So it gets pretty close to your subject. You know, I mean, you can get pretty close to your subject with this lens, and everything looks nice and sharp. Look at those. Look at that. Everything looks nice and sharp. Nice and sharp. You can literally pick out like all these details right here. One thing you have to bear in mind, like I said, is a 1.2. Once your subject moves, there's every possibility that, you know, the image is going to be out of focus. But I absolutely love how it renders, you know, like the out of focus areas. It's nice and smooth. I really like this lens. Like, I feel like I'm going to be shooting a lot with this lens. There are a few more images for you to check out. All these were shot with like LED light, so it's not like a strobe light that is going to freeze motion, you know, for you to get like really tack sharp images. So I just shot with LED lights and they look pretty good. I absolutely love these images. By the way, the lighting's pretty good too. I gotta give myself and Kofi a pat on the back. But yeah, that's about it. I think these images are absolutely gorgeous, and I think this lens is super good. So yeah, so what's my final verdict on this lens? I think for a 35mm lens with a 1.2 aperture and also a price range of $999 with this build quality, it's a no-brainer for me. If you're looking for that focal range for a lens and you are looking to upgrade, maybe you have a 35 Sigma like I have and you're looking to upgrade that, this is a good upgrade to that. That's just it. I think the Viltrox lenses are really good. I'm not here to sell you on anything, to be very honest. If you are in the market for one of these and you can afford it, then go ahead and buy it. I don't think you will regret it. It is definitely going to stay in my bag, and it's a lens that I'll be using probably even way more than my other lenses. Like I said, I use my 35 for not just like my projects or client projects, and also my YouTube videos. So it is a well balanced, good quality lens. So yeah, that's it. If you're looking to buy this lens, check out the link in my description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one, guys. Peace out.